Hello and welcome. Good evening. This is Grillenheimer. Um, I was going to show you what I've done so far. I'm doing more characters, and like I said, they're based on living and deceased relatives, mostly deceased. My great, my grandfather had a houseboat. I don't have a picture of the houseboat. I just sort of looked at some pictures online, came up with this one. This is in pencil. Um, I don't have a name for this one yet, and I started with this one first because eh, it's not the best looking one of the group in my opinion, and in some of this stuff is kind of a joke. Okay, I mean you got like just a rope here. I actually used a little bit of a ruler to make things look a little straighter, a little cleaner, a little better. I don't know. I don't like using rulers, but I like doing as much uh, hand drawing as possible. I do not have a drawing app for like say yeah I know I need to cut my fingernails um, for like an iPad or anything. I don't have anything like that. My daughter had one on her school iPad. It was wonderful. I never got the chance to use it. She is so good on the thing. It's amazing. But anyway, this is the houseboat. I got some water effects here, and I got like a side buoy here, and then you have this side gun. Okay, these are just some antennas because their houseboat goes like back to the 70s, 60s, maybe early. I don't know how old that thing was. And I've got both modes for this one. And this is the robot mode. And here's the overhang, and here's the overhang. So it's supposed to be this gruff looking robot, and he's got his chest is got this frilly stuff on it, and there's the door, uh, you know, and then and I didn't have a lot of this stuff filled in, and I thought, well, what can I put here? So I put the buoy, the side buoy, right here on the front. I thought that was a neat addition. Um, oh come on, don't do my hand. There we go. Um, in both my grandparents on that side of the family were big fishermen. My grandmother and my grandfather, and so I just stuck a fishing rod and sticking up out of the back there. Um, and going over here, these are supposed to be like little side outdoor little lights on around going the outside of the houseboat, and that's what these are supposed to be here. So he's got these silly little lights on the side of his arms, and there's the one right there beside the door. That you got the not my hand, the horns, and here's the big silly gun coming out his side over here, almost like Megatron esque. Um, and oh my goodness, and all this railing is a pain to draw. And I was wondering where to put the railing, so I got a little bit here, and there would have been here, but I kind of covered it up with his hand, and I just sort of like, okay, we'll just have the railing go around his feet. Um, and I put like the steering wheel right there, and you can kind of get an idea of if it was a toy, if it could transform. And this was just sort of a sketch of a basic houseboat kind of shape. And that character is not yet named. I do not have a name for the houseboat. Now, I'm trying not to get. Oh gosh, my thumb looks terrible. Didn't look that bad a second ago, but through my camera, it's just dead skin. I had a ingrown nail, but anyway, sorry about that. It doesn't hurt. It's just dead. I'm trying not to give away too much of my personal life online, but we have engineers in the family, and if my dad saw this, he would just tell me everything wrong about it, which is fine. It's just supposed to be not really based on reality, but complete fiction. It's not meant to really hold water. And I started putting the company name on here that a lot of my family members work with or worked with. They're pretty much defunct and gone. And I thought, whoa, maybe I shouldn't do that. So I changed it to CANT. Now, there's a story behind this. That would be my name. That's my son's name. That's my dad's name. And it ends up spelling CANT, cat, loosely. And when I started coming up with a name for the character, say, I'm afraid of heights. I don't like heights. My dad has no fear of heights. He used to climb these things. He used to inspect them, get up on the top, take pictures, crawl inside and inspect the insides. You might know who I am now. Oh well, and and again, having fun. Being a transformer, he needs some defense. Now the houseboat did have the big gun, and I put, and really a gun on a boat, on a houseboat, you shoot that big old thing, it's gonna start going backwards in the water. Not really feasible. And neither are these little gun turrets on this tank, on a water tank. Really, it would fall over, it would crush, just all sorts of impossibilities. But this is just in fun, and I'm going to make these into character cards again. And I started looking online for synonyms or other terms for fear of heights, or something to deal with heights. And of all things, I found the word catwalk. And I'm like, hey, I like that. And that even fits in with what I already had written on this water tank. So this one is named Catwalk. And get ready. He's not drawn inked yet. This is all pencil. So is the tank. I love this character. This is supposed to, come on, not my hand. This is supposed to be like the what was going around. Whoa, like here, it'd be like a wooden plank going around it. That's what that would be. And then that the head would be from the inside of the tank. There's the two turrets on his shoulders, the makeshift Autobot symbol. There's the ladder. There's the CANT. And the gun is actually part of the water pipe going down into the ground. And then I had realized that the majority of the robot would probably be inside the water tank. Well, I had all this extra long metal stuff to deal with, so I just sort of did this spidery look here, which I thought turned out pretty well. And I just tried to make him really tall, and you try to come up with ways to make him look tall. I even make some trees and some clouds, but kind of behind him, and that was sort of really just a quick sketch before I drew this down here, and it's pretty detailed. I like Catwalk pretty well, and I think the name fits. The name fits the accident of our names creating CANT on the tank itself. It all worked out. So there's Catwalk. Okay, if you don't know me personally, you might now. This character is based on me. Should be pretty easy to figure out what he transforms into. I've only gotten the robot mode so far. And yeah, I guess I could have used an alternator Grimlock as my basis. And I do have a lot of the alternators because at once upon a time they were just $20 at Walmart. And so I did pick a lot of them up way back when. But I thought I'd pull this out of my head, and there's the front of the Mustang. I drove a 66 Mustang that was kept in the family, And those are my initials. I may erase that. I did not ink that in. This is supposed to be the seat. The seats are actually the feet. There's the back. Here's the obvious front and the hood, and you can see what's what. It's not that hard to make out. I do not have a name for him yet. Come on, there we go. And originally I didn't have this on here, but I tried drawing a little goatee around his mouth for myself. And anybody that wore glasses, I do the visor look, which most of these do. And here's this one. Like I said, I do not have this one named yet. When I drove that Mustang, I kind of nicknamed my vehicles after Transformers, which is silly. Most people name them after girls, using girl names, or we used to. But I think I called him Blue Streak. But I won't use that. I'm going to have to come up with something different. Found on road dead, maybe? No, just kidding. Let's keep going. Whoa, come on. There it goes. This character was loosely based on my grandmother. It is a masculine robot, though. And this was just sort of sketching out how it might transform, what it might look like from the side. And I had the motor back here, etc., etc. And then I finished it. I even inked it tonight. And it, like I said, it is masculine, or it looks very masculine. This one, based on my grandmother, has no guns. You can see our glass par was really just a single motor, but I saw a lot of them online that had double motors. That's supposed to be the steering wheel there, and I haven't drawn the boat. I'm not good at. I'm pretty decent with the robots, drawing robots, but maybe not posing as well as I'd like. And I have the little pinky poking out there, or tried to, with its hand on its hip, and there's the glass par name right there. I want to say it was a 61 model motorboat, where in this would be like the middle section here. The front part would have been come apart and turn into the arms, because you can just see the hatch. I tried drawing the hatch right there from the front, and there's the glass that the head comes out from. That's supposed to be the horn. Doesn't look like it. And I always just put on an antenna for the heck of it. And that's supposed to be the seat. Because if you look up online for pictures of a 61 or 57 glass par motorboat, you're going to see looks like a seat on on stilts or something, like almost like a bar stool looking seat in front of the steering wheel. It's pretty funny looking, but that's how they made them back then. This would be the back of the boat, and I just wrote glass par for the heck of it on the bottom of the feet. And the motor, this would be this was the kind of the cockpit area, though in robot mode it's completely filled in, and this is supposed to be the motor casing. And there were seats back here too. I should have drawn the seats. I didn't think about that. And originally, being a glass par and being part of my grandmother, I was going to call it glass mutter, and I thought that just sounds stupid. And we had a name for the boat. I'm not going to say the name because it was based on her real name and her middle initial. But this is foil. This is foil. So we have another edition. And it's supposed to be a glass bar boat. And I will eventually get the boat drawn. One quick thing before I go on to the next character. This is just a little bit of railing here and a little bit of railing here. These old boats, even though they were speedboats for their day, which can be outmatched by anything on the water now, they weren't very safe. As long as you stayed inside the boat or maybe on the front, which would have been right in here, which is what the arms are made out of. They would have come together if it would have been a toy or something. You would have been okay, but if you were about to fall off, you didn't have much to hold on to. You really didn't. Back here, it was pretty deep, and the seats were pretty deep with the vinyl seating and everything. And it was a porcelain-made boat, boats, if I remember correctly. We were a boating family, let me tell you. And they weren't very safe boats. But you fall in the water. It's a very maneuverable boat. You can slow it down, turn it around pretty easily, etc., etc. Let's go on to the next one. And here is the last character. Whoa. Okay. I've seen this is fairly new camera. I'm not used to it, and every time I do something, I see something new pop up. This is loosely supposed to be. She's still living, but this looks nothing like her. It's not my mother. But we used to have a Catalina 22. This is loosely based on our Catalina 22. This would have been the cabin, the bow of the boat. Again, more railing. My gosh, all the railing I drew on this thing. This is supposed to be the back of the boat. That's supposed to be the name of the boat. That it was, and I came up with this before Visper for Wave 3, actually spelled with an I, not an E, came out. So, and then I didn't want to really name the robot Visper, even though I did ink this in. And there is no sail here. This is just what do you call the mainstay? I think this would be the gun. The main boom, and this is your mast or mizzen mast, and we'll put a little flag up there with loosely Autobot symbol up there. And I will make a Decepticon or two. I've got some more ideas coming. And I did not make a left hand. The left hand is the motor. I thought I'd do something a little different. And same with the head. I didn't do the normal, let me just, so sorry for this. I wasn't planning on this. Where you just, do something like that. This is weird looking at trying to do this through a camera. Just the standard kind of hat looking thing like this, and like the baseball cap kind of look for an Autobot. You put something on the sides, make something stick up, etc. I didn't want to do the normal stuff. So, again, we got the visor look, and I did this. I did a little something different. And again, boat on the water, we need an antenna. These are what you would put the ropes on. This is sort of the entrance to the main cabin. And if we really tried to transform this thing, it would not work. I do not have the boat drawn, only the robot mode here. And the actual name for it is teak. I thought I was being pretty creative with my names here. I'll just go ahead and say it. My dad loves sailboats. Loved sailboats. We don't have sailboats anymore. We're just all getting too old. And we painted the teak. He kept up the teak. He would go down and do nothing but repaint the teak and repaint the teak and repaint the teak. So, when you have wood like that on the water, it is subjected to the weather, to the elements, to the salt water. It just eats it up. And it seemed like we were constantly repainting the teak. It seemed like every 6 months. It probably was only once a year, but I mean, he would take a whole week off just to paint the teak on a spring break or something. The upkeep of these things was just insane. Then, you know, making sure that the sails are folded and put up correctly so they don't dry rot, etc., etc. Taking the boat out of the water, that took money to do that, to get the barnacles off the bottom of the boat, you know. I mean, there could have been gators and sharks in the water when we had one down on the coast for a long time, which was not a 22. It was a little bigger boat. And he would get in the water and scrape the barnacles off the boat. You know, it was just insane. He could have been attacked by something down there, and we may have never known. He may never come up, you know. Just interesting little stories I can remember. But and I did help with the teak some. I was not a completely rebellious teenager, but I didn't always do what I was told. But this is teak, and that was the car I grew up driving. That was even before my time. The Mustang was my uncle's. My brother bought the car from my uncle. My brother drove it, and then I drove it. This one's based on my grandmother, the glass par motorboat. Let's see here. That is a blank piece of paper, and I did not hit. And then we have Catwalk. You know, and I just love the huge gun I made out for him. That and I'm terrible at poses, and I thought I did a pretty good job there. You know, this, and when I ink this in, this is not inked in yet. And I don't have a name for this guy. I got to come up with a name for the houseboat. So that is all of them. And like I said, we were a boating family. When I'm done with this, I'm going to have a small armada of more characters to come on. Okay. There it goes. No, I don't want that. There we go. So sorry, everybody. Hope you took your Dramamine before this video. No, because you're about to get on the boat. Oh gosh, I had an aunt that she could get on a pier and get seasick. It was sad, but that's it so far. And hopefully, the further I get, I'll let you know how it goes. Got another set of characters come to finish. I've got more ideas for other characters I also want to do. I mean, I got a small list, and I might do an animal too. I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe a raccoon, maybe a fish. I may not do those, but I've got some other ideas and vehicles to come as well. So at least two more. So before I go 25 minutes, thanks for watching. Have a blessed night. Have a blessed evening. If you haven't seen some of my previous videos, you know, check my Transformer playlist. The last video I did about joy was short and sweet, and probably one of my best inspirational videos ever. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and have a great night, and let's roll out.